as we're recording the podcast, I got an email from the Athletics Integrity Unit Meteor account. And when that happens, it's usually not good for someone in the sport. And headline, all capital. All right, Robert, do we have the sound effect here?
So right before we went on air, John said that he had a doping positive. Weldon and I do not know who the positive is. And we're going to react to it live.
I mean, it's a good thing John checked his email. What if this literally came like the minute before we started recording. What if we recorded the whole damn show and then we check our email afterwards?
All right, there we go. All caps headline.
Wait, before you say it, I'm trying to think what would be most devastating to the sport, right? Well, I think if it was, mainstream America, like Allison Felix would be a big hit. That didn't happen. I think John would have reacted differently if it's Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Who would most devastate you? I'm trying to think. I'm not thinking of the obvious people that would really. Oh, if it was like Grant Fisher or something like that. Whoa.
The greatest American distance runner of all time, right? Grant Fisher. No, all right.
For a meteor to the sport, like, if a thing Mo went down, I'd be so shocked. But she's not known at large yet, so the good thing with the mainstream public is no one's going to know who this person is. But I think it's a big name because John's like, holy crap. Here it is, John.
Okay. Nigel Amos of Botswana provisionally suspended after testing positive. Now, a little context here. I don't want to totally freak out about this because I've never even heard of the substance he tested positive for. Here's the release. He tested positive for metabolites of GW1516, a substance that is prohibited under the WADA prohibited list as a metabolic modulator. Substances in this category modify how the body metabolizes fat, and GW1516 was originally synthesized and evaluated for the treatment of obesity, diabetes, and other disorders caused by metabolic problems. It's not an approved substance for human use. WADA has advised of its health risks for athletes. It's a non-specified substance. Provisional suspension is mandatory. And the positive test came on June 4th. Now, the AIU only learned about it today. Amos was scheduled to compete in the 800 at Worlds. He was told of the suspension today, Tuesday, and now he's ineligible to compete. So that's what we know at the moment.
Well, it's not the biggest name. I don't know what this substance is. Probably already thread on this in Let's Run. We should start reading. But it just sort of sucks. But, like, I assume our audience knows, Nigel Amos, who let me get my math here, 18-year-old at the 2012 Olympics, ran 1:41.73. One of the greatest talents in the history of the sport, 800 meters. I don't think he's doping when he's 18, so I don't know what this means, but I hope it's some sort of mistake.
Well, while this is personally a bummer for me because I kind of have been an Amos fan over the years. I mean, 1:41.73 at 18, fourth. That was actually tied for the third fastest man in history, same PR as Seb Coe. But it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean that much to me. But I was really kind of hoping he could. He's never medaled since that first Olympics. How is that possible? Someone that talented. But I kind of like the story. This guy from Botswana. I mean, what other track athletes do they have for there? He was into DJing, kind of was partying for a while, then moved to the U.S. And I was like, how do they not get it right with this guy? Worlds after worlds, and now he's testing positive. So could have been an innocent mistake. Could have been he went to the dark side late. It's kind of like Mary Slaney. Do I think Mary Slaney was doping when she was 16? No, I do not. Do I think she was doping at the end of her career? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I could see that situation happening, Robert. I feel like when he came onto the scene, I mean, all right, look, he ran 1:41, which is ridiculously fast, but do I think he was doping when he was 18? Yeah, probably not. Do I know if he's doping now? I don't know. He hasn't said any, clearly he tested positive, but he also hasn't said anything or given any sort of explanation. So I'm willing to at least hear what he has to say on this. But yeah, would it shock me if he's getting older in his career, feels like he needs some help, took something. No, it wouldn't. I didn't think he was going to be a factor in the 800 anyway, because he has a poor history, as we said, after London 2012. And usually that's with at least running one super fast race. He'll drop a 142 or a 143 at some point in the season. He has not even done that this year. His season's best is 144.92, which is only good for fifth in the Strava. So I wasn't considering him as a factor in the 800 anyway, and now he won't be in there.
The other angle of the story is Amos in name is with the Oregon Track Club. So here we are, the big Eugene World. A member of the home track club has just tested positive. But that track club's pretty much, well, Mark Rowland, the head coach, is already announced he's leaving to take a job with Athletics Canada. There's really no one of substance, not many people of substance left in that group. And Amos, I thought most of this year had been in Africa. So I don't think it really means anything for the OTC. It's just not good optics. And we had to break away here for a second because Robert just got a call from a British journalist asking about that angle, essentially. And Josh shocked to admit, I had no idea Mark Rowland was an Olympic bronze medalist. For the record, Mark Rowland, he's not just the OTC coach, he's the sole Olympics 3,000 meter bronze medalist. It shows how, well, myopic some of us are about our own country, because I would for sure know if he was an American, he medaled.
Yeah, I knew that.
Of course you did.
Not a big deal for us, but it's kind of a big deal for the British journalist. He wanted to know if I, Robert Johnson, was on the board of the OTC. He said, "Oh, it doesn't look good." He said, "Oh, good to hear, Robert. It's not you involved. Not good to have a home positive. You know, they love to stir the pot a little bit." So that's good, folks. We know that there's a journalist already in Eugene.
Yeah, you were thinking people weren't going to show up? The Brits, they'll be out there for sure. They were in Belgrade, they're in Doha. They always come to these things. All right, we will preview Worlds in great detail later in the show, but I think we should start with a couple of the news items and then we close with the Worlds preview. I think we need to talk about Jerry Schumacher taking the head job at the University of Oregon.